to like 1. My stepdaughter's like 7. I don't know why you don't worry about it, mate. I don't know, you don't look down the line and think, you know what, wow. And what you're seeing now, and what you're going to see, I don't know why everyone's tapping into this. You've heard me mention it a load of times. Realisation. What you've got a lot of dads who are getting on in their lives and realising, and they're looking at the world and they're realising they've got to leave their daughter in this world, and they're unliving themselves all over the place, mate. And that's a lesson for you young dads, mate. It's a lesson for me, and I'm nearly dead. Do you understand what I'm saying? Imagine the guilt you're going to get when you're older, when all you've done is put weed in your mouth and drink in your body, and your kids are left to fend for themselves. That's what it's about. Government take half when you're dead. At least your kids got a roof over their head. That's what you should be doing, all of us. That's what your purpose is, to provide for your women and children. And it's not happening, is it? Why? Because the adults are materialistic, selfish bastards, mate. And that's exactly what they're doing to the kids. Not all adults, but the majority. Sally Doherty saying, in a perfect world, your world's what you make of it. Their world's what they live as in. What I mean by that is, you're in a bubble, mate. And your bubble is your world. And what goes on outside your bubble, if you want it to, can ruin you. But if you don't want it to, will never harm you. And that's it, basically. The world. Focus on your own. Focus on your world, mate. No one does it, do they? You need to focus on yourselves, you know, because that's where the truth lies, within you. What people say, you know who you are. You know what you're about. You know if you're dirty. You know if you're a wrong'un. You know if you're not a wrong'un. You know, and it will have an effect on you at some point. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean be selfish. Do you understand? You've got your own world, your own bubble, your own little fanboy in it. Look after it. That's number one. That unit is number one, not you. But then the kids next door, the woman next door dies in jail. You know they're struggling. What are you buzzing off them for? Straightforward question, isn't it? Why are you letting that family across the road from you, who's been there all their lives from you, why are you letting them struggle? Why? Because the dad's in jail? Society's just, I don't like it, mate. Society's broke, isn't it? People say it's broken. It's broke. It's snapped, mate. There's no going back from this. It's just all downhill. You know that, don't you, people? This isn't me trying to put you on a downer. This is me, mate. I'm a firm believer that when something starts, it'll snowball unless it crash and burns. The only way it crash and burns is because it gets too heavy, crashes. And that's what you're seeing with this society now. We were flying, it's crashed, mate. And it's all downhill from here now, all of it. And that's what you're witnessing, and you're just standing back and watching it, basically. You know, you've watched in the past 20 years the housing situation right up, the hospital situation right up, public transport right up, postal network right up, and these were all like these were the foundations of the country, and they were all running smoothly, and there was no jams, and there was no problems, and everything was sweet, and everything was fantastic. And then boom, it's just all going downhill, and nothing seems to be stopping, does it? It just seems to be, to me it's looking worse and worse and worse. I don't know whether I've got a different view than you, but to me it's just looking worse and worse and worse. In the sense of they're putting us back 20 years. No, not. They're putting us back before 20 years, if you like. They're putting us back into like when there was 6 of us in a 2-bedroom flat on Tommy White's. You know, the bins aren't getting emptied regular. They're just all mass that makes your community look like the grass isn't getting cut on a regular. They're like they're meant to. It's what you pay council tax for. If you go into an apartment and you pay a fee, which like looks after the block and looks after the block and all that, come round and do the windows and keep the grass clean and the path clean for you and take rubbish away, and that's basically what council tax is for your estate. So your estate's like an apartment block, and you pay a fee every so often for the apartment block to be scrubbed and cleaned and maintained and looked after. All you've seen is things deteriorate, things become more secure, more cameras, more metal gates, more empty homes. This is all you're seeing, pure derelict situations everywhere. Rubbish all over the gaff, rats all over the gaff, washing machines, couches, beds, bikes, cars, burns. This is what you see on a council estate regular days now. They spend more time keeping the lights on than what they do keeping the rubbish off step. Do you understand what I mean? So your estate can be a complete toll, and one light bulb goes out and you'll have 6 workmen at the light fixing it within 3 days. And this is just like a deterioration. This is a depression of the mind. That's what it's at. That's what it's causing. A depression. It's like in your house, mate. It's the same sort of effect. If you're waking up in an house with dishes stacked up there, with food on the floor and things on the floor and da-da-da-da, it's having a massive effect on your psychology. Massive. And if you walk out your front door and you've got a police scene, a kid in the corner bumming, an house boarded up, a car burnt down there, and trees that look dead, cameras, metal gates, barbed wire, what's it going to do? It's going to be your mindset, definitely. Especially when you can't get yourself out of it. That's the realisation part. When you realise you're not getting out of that there, you know, kid. Doesn't matter how hard you try. The only way you're getting out of that's committing crime. And the minute you commit crime, your situation goes 10 times worse. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's the realisation that's going to hit me, mate. Honest to God, I felt like crying. I've always had this thing where I'm breaking free and I can get off and live this dream of a life. But you just can't. Do you understand what I mean? You cannot just go off charter. You can't just vanish with your family and just the authorities. You can't do it, mate, honest to God, it's horrible. And the realisation of not being able to do it. And like I said before, you've got loads of fathers who haven't been the providers. And the provider mentality gets kicked out of them by what's going on. Do you understand what I mean? And a lot of them are getting to the 40s and going, bye, I can't do this. Imagine being on your deathbed knowing you've left your daughter, struggling to find a house. Imagine that. No way, lad. Not for me, that, mate. Do you understand where I'm coming from now? You need to prioritise what's really important in your life. Is going out every Friday and Saturday more important than your kids? So that's what you're doing. Whether we like it or not, and I don't. But your kid's future is built on the financial savings you create now. Not when you're dead. And that's just the bottom line. And people are going through lives buying £200 jeans, they've got a kid there. And half of these people, when they get to the 40s and that, the graph's dried up. There's a new league in town. You're not selling drugs no more. You're struggling. Everything you did have's now gone. Why? Busy's took it off you. Do you understand what I mean? You've got to start prioritising what's important to you, mate. I love my kids. If anyone touches my kids, I'll kill them. You're ruining them. You're ruining your kids. I'm not going to ruin my kids' chances in life, like, never. Not like my parents did with me. You always hear me, don't you? My worst regrets, my parents. I don't want my kids to regret me. And that's another thing, that's another dynamic that you're seeing. Loads of kids are turning on the parents when they're realising. When they're realising, bang. They're just switching, mate. Don't blame them, to be honest with you, mate. I can relate to it. I spoil mine with love, I've got nothing, but he can have it all. That's it, so. That sounds like the mentality of a single mum. I spoil mine with love. I've got nothing, but he can have it all. Minus the dad. This is another big problem, and it's one of the main problems actually. I'm not saying, you know, I insinuated there, probably jumped to a conclusion which was probably wrong, but I'm right. So, you know, you can give, I'm not just saying, look, your mum gives you the nurture and love. Your mum gives you the compassion, the empathy. Do you understand? She gives you the kind, loving, caring, well, they're meant to. These days. Back then. These days you still get it, but you can see the turn. You know, you've got mums killing the babies. And the numbers are going. Do you understand what I mean? But the mum gives the nurture and love. The kind, peaceful, tranquil. And the dad gives the tough love. And in a world that's as tough as this, your kids need that tough love. And no woman can do both. And I'm sick of hearing girls saying, I can do the dad. No, you can't. You're going to make your kid into a puff. Yes, Cloud. Campbell. I'm not hating on any girls that's got to, you know, at the end of the day, it's about protecting the child. And if the child's got to be protected from the father, well then, so be it. But you need some sort of male influence within his life. And I'm not saying run out and get him a stepdad. If that happens, it happens. But don't be bringing some man into your life that's going to ruin you in front of your kids. And whether he's like that or not me, but I'm aware, I've been in conversations with men. I've been around men all my life, so I know the way they think, and I know the way they move, and I know how they get into beds and get out, everything. You know what a man's like. And this isn't me hating on man, but whether you like it or not, most men look at single mothers as a bit of, do you understand what I'm saying? They're not really looking long term. They don't really want to raise next man's kids. Do you understand what I'm saying? And these can come in and anyway, I'll shut up. I don't want to be upsetting no one or offending anyone here. The bottom line is every young child needs the tough love of their father and the nurturing love of their mother. That's the point I'm making. I was just going deep on it, weren't I? Dave-O, don't agree. It's entirely up to you if you don't agree, mate. Yes, Mitch. Got a troll saying, get off the flake. You're talking to your ma, lad. My ma never used to take drugs, mate. Obviously yours did. Otherwise you wouldn't be telling her to get off the flake. Yes, James. He's like to spin mad news, hey, because you haven't got an energy like this. Yes, Lee. I mean, what else would you be doing at this hour? 12:10. You sat there, trolling. There's something wrong with you, potheads, lad, I'm telling you.